to unfold would seem in me to affect speech and discourse. Since I am put to know that your own science exceeds, and that the list of all advice my strength can give you, then no more remains but that. In your sufficiency as your work is able, and let them work. The nature of our people, our cities' institutions, and the terms for common justice here are as pregnant as art and practice hath enriched any that we remember. No, then no more remains but that. Hold, I say, did come before us. What figure of us think you he will bear? For you must know we have with special soul elected him our absence to supply, lent him our terror, dressed him with our love, and given his deputation all the organs of our own power. What think you of it?
If any in Vienna be of worth to undergo such ample grace and honor, it is Lord Angelo.
Look where he comes.
Always obedient to your grace's will. I come to know your pleasure.
Angelo, there is a kind of character in thy life that to the observer doth thy history fully unfold. Thyself and thy belongings are not thine own so proper as to waste thyself upon thy virtues, but they on thee. Heaven doth with us as we with torches do, not light them for themselves. For if our virtues did not go forth of us, 'twere all alike as if we had them not. But I do mend my speech to one that can my part in him advertise. Hold, therefore, Angelo, in our remove be thou at full ourself. Morality and mercy live in thy tongue and heart. Augustus, though first in question, shall be thy secondary. Therefore take thy initiative.
Now, good my lord, let there be some more test, made of my metal before so noble and so great a figure is stamped upon it.
No more evasion. We have, with a leavened and prepared choice, proceeded to you. Therefore, take your honors. We shall write to you as time and our concernings shall importune. How it goes with us, and do look to know what doth before you here. So fare you well. To the hopeful execution do I leave you of your commission.
Yet give leave, my lord, that we may bring you something on the way.
My haste may not admit it, nor should you. Your soul is to enforce or qualify the laws as your soul seems good. Give me yours. I'll privily away. I do love the people, but do not like to stage me to their eyes. Though it do well, I do not relish well in their loud applause and aves vehement. Nor do I think the man of safe discretion that does affect it. Once more, fare you well.
The heavens give safety to your purposes.
Lead forth and bring you back in happiness.
I thank you. Fare you well.
I shall desire you, sir, to give me leave to have free speech with you, and it concerns me to look into the bottom of my place. A power I have, but of what strength and nature I am not yet instructed.
'Tis so with me. Let us withdraw together, and we may soon our satisfaction have touching that point.
I'll wait upon your honor.
With the King of Hungary, why did all the dukes fall upon the king? Heaven grant us his peace, but not the King of Hungary.
Amen. Thou concludest, like the sanctimonious pirate that went to sea with the 10 commandments, but scraped one out of the table.
Thou shalt not steal.
Aye, that he raised.
Why, 'twas a commandment to command the captain and all the rest from their functions.
They put forth to steal. There's not a soldier of us all that in Thanksgiving before meat do relish the petition well that prays for peace.
Oh, I never heard any soldiers dislike sin.
I believe thee, but I think thou never wast where grace was said.
No, A dozen times at least.
What? In meter? In any proportion, in any length? I think in any religion.
But grace is grace, despite of all controversy. As, for example, thou thyself art a wicked villain, despite of all grace.
Well, there went but a pair of shears between us.
I grant, as there may between the list and the velvet. Thou art the list, and thou the velvet. Thou art good velvet. Thou art a three-piled piece, I warn thee.
I had as lief be least of an English courtesy as be piled.
As thou art piled for a French velvet. Do I speak feelingly now? I think thou dost, and indeed with most painful feeling of thy speech. I will, out of thine own confession, learn to begin thy health. But, whilst I live, forget to drink after thee.
I think I've done myself wrong. Have I not?
Yes, that thou hast, because thou art tainted or free.
I have purchased as many diseases under her roof as come to.
What, my friend?
Judge.
Oh, to $3,000 a year.
I and more.
A French crown more.
Thou art always figuring diseases in me. But thou art full of error. I am sound.
Nay, not as one would say healthy, but so sound as things that are hollow. Thy bones are hollow. Impiety has made a feast of thee.
How now? One of your hits in the most profound
This one yonder arrested and carried to prison was worth 5,000 of you all.
Who's that, I pray thee?
Mary, sir, that's Claudia. Senor Claudia.
Claudio to prison. 'Tis not so.
Nay, but I know 'tis so. I saw him arrested, saw him carried away, and which is more, within these 3 days, his head's to be chopped off.
But after all this fooling, I would not have it so. Art thou sure of this?
I am too sure of it, and didst forget Madame Juliet and the child.
Believe me, this may be. He promised to meet me 2 hours since, and he was ever precise in his promise-keeping.
Besides, you know it was something near the speech as we have to such a purpose.
Most of all, agreeing with the proclamation.
Away, let's go learn the truth.
Thus, what with the war, what with the sweat, what with the gallows, and what with poverty, my custom shrunk. Oh, now, what's the news with you?
Yonder man is carried to prison.
Well, what's he done?
A woman,
What was the fed?
groping for trouts in a peculiar river.
What, is her life a child by him?
No, but there's a woman who was made by You have not heard of the proclamation, have you?
Oh, what proclamation that?
All houses in the suburbs of Vienna must be plucked down.
And what shall become of those in the city?
Well, they shall stand for seed. They have gone down too, but that a wise burgher put in for them.
And shall all our houses of resort in the suburbs be pulled down?
To the ground, mistress.
Why, here's a change indeed in the Commonwealth. What will become of me?
Fear not you. Good counselors lack no clients. Though you change your place, you need not change your trade. I'll be your tapster still. Courage. It will be pity taken on you. You who have almost worn your eyes out in the service, you will be considered.
What's to do here, Thomas Tapster? Oh, let's withdraw. Oh,
Here comes Signor Claudio, led by the provost to prison. And there's Madame Julia.
Why dost thou show me thus to the world? Bear me to prison where I am committed.
I do it not in evil disposition, but from Lord Angelo by special charge.
Thus, can the demigod authority make us pay down for our offense by weight? The words of heaven, upon whom it will, it will. Upon whom it will not, so. Yet still 'tis just.
For how now, Claudio? Whence comes this restraint?
From too much liberty, my Lucio. Liberty. As serpent is the father of much fast, so every scope by the immoderate use turns to restraint. Our natures do pursue, like rats, that raving down their proper bane of thirsty evil. And when we drink, we die.
If I could speak so wisely under arrest, I would send for certain of my creditors. And yet, to say the truth, I had as lief have the foppery of freedom as the morality of imprisonment. What's thy offense, Claudio?
What but to speak of would offend again.
What, is murder?
No.
Lechery?
Call it so.
Oh, wait, sir. You must go.
One word, good friend. Lucio, a word with you.
100, if they'll do you any good. This lechery so looked after.
Thus stands it with me. Upon a true contract, I got possession of Juliet's bed. You know the lady. She is fast my wife. Save that we do the denunciation lack of outward order. This we came not to only for propagation of a dower, remaining in the coffer of her friends, from whom we thought it meet to hide our love till time had made them for us. But it chances the stealth of our most mutual entertainment, with character too gross, is writ on Juliet.
With child, perhaps?
Unhappily, even so. And the new deputy, now for the Duke, whether it be the false glimpse of newness, or whether the body public be a horse whereon the governor doth ride, who newly in the seat, that it may know he can command, that it straight feel the spur. Whether the tyranny be in his place, or in his eminence that fills it up, I stagger in. But this new governor awaits me all the enrolled penalties which have, like unscoured armor, hung by the wall so long, that 19 zodiacs have gone round, and none of them been worn. And for a name, now puts the drowsy and neglected act freshly on me. 'Tis surely for a name.
I warrant it is. If thy head stands so thick along thy shoulders that a milkmaid, if she be enough, may sigh it off. Send after the Duke and appeal to him.
I have done so, but he's not to be found. I prithee, Lucio, do me this kind service. This day my sister should the cloister enter, and there receive her approbation. Acquaint her with the danger of my state. Implore her, in my voice, that she make friends to the strict deputy. Bid herself assay him. I have great hope in that, for in her youth there is a prone and speechless dialect such as move men. Besides, she hath prosperous art when she will play with reason and discourse, and well she can persuade.
I pray she may, and as well for the encouragement of the like, which else would stand on a grievous imposition, as for the enjoying of thy life, who I would be sorry should thus be foolishly lost at the game of tic-tac. I'll to her.
I thank you, good friend Lucio.
Within 2 hours.
Come, officer, away.
No, holy sir, throw that thought away. Believe not that the dribbling dart of love can pierce a complete bosom. Why I desire thee to give me secret harbor hath a purpose more grave and wrinkled than the aims and ends of burning you.
May your grace speak of it.
My lords, I have delivered to Lord Angelo, a man of stricture and firm abstinence, my absolute power and place here in Vienna, and he supposes me trouble to Poland. For so I have strewed it in the common ear, and so it is received. Now, sir, you will demand of me why I did this.
Gladly, my lord.
We have strict statutes and most biting laws, which for these 14 years we have let slip. Now, as fond fathers, having bound up the threatening twigs of birch, for only to stick it in their children's sight for terror, not to use, In time, the rod more mocked and feared. The baby beats the nurse, and quiet at work goes all decorum.
It rested in your grace to unloose this tied up justice when you pleased. And if you knew more dreadful would have seemed than in Lord Angelo?
I do fear too dreadful. Since 'twas my fault to give the people scope, 'twould be my tyranny to strike and gall them for what I bid them do. For we bid this be done when evil deeds have their permissive past, and not the punishment. Therefore, indeed, my thought, I have imposed the office on Lord Angelo, and to behold his sway I will, as 'twere a person of your order, visit both prince and people. Therefore, I pray, supply me with the habit, and instruct me how I may formally in person bear like a true friar. More reasons for this, as how more leisure shall I render you. Only this one. Lord Angelo is precise, stands as a guard defender, scarce confesses that his blood flows, or that his appetite is more to bread than stone. Hence shall we see, if power change purpose what our seamers be.
And have you none no father privileges? Are not these large enough? Yes, truly. I speak not as desiring more, but rather wishing a more strict restraint upon the sisterhood, the vulgarest of St. Clair.
Ho! Peace be in this place.
To the man's voice.
Peace be in this place.
Said to Isabella, heard you the king and know his business of him? You may. I may not. You are yet unsworn. When you have vowed, you must not speak with men but in the presence of the friars. Then if you speak, you must not show your face. But if you show your face, you must not speak.
Oh!
He calls again. I pray you, answer him. Peace and prosperity. Who is that call?
Hail, virgin, if you be, as those cheek roses proclaim you are no less. Can you so stead me as to bring me to sight of Isabella, a novice of this place, and fair sister to our unhappy brother, Claudio?
Why, her unhappy brother? Let me ask the rather, for I now must make you know I am Isabella and his sister.
Gentle and fair, your brother kindly greets you. Not to be weary with you, he's in prison.
Oh, me, for what?
If for that which myself might be his judge, he should receive his punishment in thanks. He hath got his friend with child.
Sir, make me not your story.
'Tis true, I would not, though 'tis my familiar sin with maids, to seem the lapwing, and to jest, tongue far from heart, play with all virgins so. I hold you as a thing enskyed and sainted, by your renouncement an immortal spirit, and to be talked to within sincerity as with saints.
You do blaspheme the good in mocking me.
Do not believe it. Fewness and truth, 'tis thus. Your brother and his lover have embraced, as those that feed grow full, as blossoming time, that from the seediness the bare fallow brings to teeming poison, even so her plenteous womb expresseth his full tilth and husbandry.
Someone with child, I hear. My cousin Juliet.
Is she your cousin?
Adoptedly, as schoolmates change their names, by name, the last affection.
She it is.
Oh, let him marry her.
This is the point. The Duke is very strangely gone. But we learn from those who know the very nerves of the state that his givings out are of an infinite distance from his true men's design. Upon his place, and with full line of his authority, governs Lord Angelo, a man whose blood is very snow broth, one who never feels the wanton stings and motions of the sense, but does blunt or abate his natural edge with prophets of the mind, study him fast. He, to give fear to Houston's liberty, which hath for long run by the hideous laws my spy mind, hath picked out an act under whose heavy sense your brother's life falls into forfeit. He arrests him on it, and follows close the rigor of the statutes to make him an example. All hope is gone, unless you have the grace by your fair prayer to soften Angelo. And that's my piece of business twixt you and your poor brother.
Doth he so seek his life?
Has censured him already, and as I hear, the provost hath a warrant for his execution.
Oh, alas, what poor ability is in me to do him good.
I say the power you have.
My power, alas, I doubt
Our
not.
doubts are traitors, and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Go to Lord Angelo, and let him learn to know that when maidens sue, men give like gods. But when they weep and kneel, all their petitions are as freely theirs as they themselves would owe them.
I'll see what I can do.
But speedily.
I will about it straight, no longer staying, but to give the mother notice of my affairs. I humbly beg you, commend me to my brother. Soon at night I will send him certain word of my success.
I take right leave of you.
Good sir! Adieu.
Not make a scarecrow of the law, setting it up to fear the birds of prey, and let it keep one shape. To custom make it their perch and not their terror.
Aye, but yet let us be keen, and rather cut a little than fall, and bruise to death. Alas, this gentleman whom I would save had a most noble father. Let what your honor know, whom I believe to be most straitly virtuous, but that in the working of your own affection, had time cohered with place, or place with wishes, or that the resolute acting of your blood could have attained the effect of your own purpose. Whether you had not sometime in your life erred in this point, which now you censure him, and pull the law upon you.
'Tis one thing to be tempted, Aeschylus, another thing to fall. I not deny. The jury passing on the prisoner's life may in the sworn 12 have a thief or two guiltier than him they try. What's open made to justice, that justice seizes. What knows the law's thieves do pass on thieves. 'Tis very pregnant, the jewel that we find, we stoop and take it because we see it. But what we do not see, we tread upon and never think of it. You may not so extenuate his offense, for I have had such faults. But rather tell me, when I that censure him do so offend, let mine own judgments pattern out my death, and nothing come impartial. Sir, he must die.
Be it as your wisdom will.
Where's the provost?
Here, and like your honor.
See that Claudio be executed by 9 tomorrow morning. Bring him his confessor, let him be prepared, for that's the utmost of his pilgrimage.
Well, heaven forgive him, and forgive us all. Some rise by sin, and some by virtue fall. Some run from breaks of ice, and sin not. And some condemned it for a false load.
Come, bring them away!
If these be good people in a commonweal that do nothing but use their abuses in common houses, I know no law.
Bring them away! How now, sir? What's your name? And what's the matter?
If it please your honor, I am the poor duke's constable, and my name is Elbow. I lean upon justice, sir. And do bring in here before your good honor 2 notorious benefactors.
Benefactors? Well, what benefactors are they? Are they not malefactors?
If it please your honor, I know not well what they are, but what 3 villains they are, that I am sure of, and void of all profanation in the world that good Christians ought to have.
This comes off well. Here's a wise officer.
So too. What quality are they of? Elbow is your name? Why dost thou not speak, Elbow?
Sir, a capster, sir, a parcel bawd, one that serves a bad woman, whose house there was, as they say, locked down in the suburbs, and now she professes a hothouse, which
I think it a very ill house too.
How know you that?
My wife, sir, whom I detest before heaven and your honor.
My wife?
I, sir, whom I thank heaven is an honest woman.
Dost thou detest her, therefore?
I say, sir, I will detest myself also, as well as she, that this house, if it be not a bawd's house, it is pity of her life, for it is a naughty house.
How dost thou know that, constable?
Married, sir, by my wife, who, if she had been a woman cardinally given, might have been accused in fornication, adultery, and all uncleanliness there.
By the woman's means?
Aye, sir, by Mistress Overdone's means. But as she spit in his face, so she deified him.
Sir, if it please your honor, this is not so.
Prove it. Before these varlets here, thou honorable man, prove it.
Do you hear how he misplaces?
Sir, she came in great with child, longing, saving your honor's reverence, for a stewed prunes. We had but two in the house, which at that very distant time stood, as it were, in a fruit dish, a dish of some 3 pence. Your honors have seen such dishes. They are not China dishes, but they are very good.
Go to. No matter for the dish, sir.
No, indeed, sir, not of a pin. You are there in the right, but to the point. As I say, this Mistress Elbow, being, as I said, great-bellied and longing, as I said, for prunes, and having but 2 in the house, as I said, and Master Proctor, this very man, having eaten the rest, as I said, and as I say, paying for them very honestly. For as you know, Master Froth, I could not give you 3 pence again.
No, indeed.
Why, very well then. You being then, if you be remembered, cracking the stone. Aforesaid prunes.
Aye, so I did indeed.
Why, very well then.
All this is true.
Why, very well then.
Come!
You are a tedious fool. To the purpose.
What was done to Elbow's wife that he hath cause to complain of?
Come me to what was done to her.
Sir, your honor cannot come to that yet.
No, sir? Nor I mean it not.
But you shall come to it by your honor's leave, and I beseech you, sir, look into Master Crofty, a man of 80 pounds a year, whose father died at Hallowmass. Was it not Hallowmass, Master Froth?
All Hollandy.
Why, very well. I hope here be truth. You, sir, being then sitting in a lower chair, was in the bunch of grapes where indeed you have a delight to sit, have you not?
I have so, sir, because it's an open room and good for winter.
Why, very well then. I hope here be truth.
For last out a night in Russia, when nights are longest there. I'll take my leave and leave you to the hearing of the cause, hoping you'll find good cause to whip them all.
I think no less.
Good morrow to your lordship.
Now, sir, come on. What was done to Elbow's wife? Once more.
Once, sir. There was nothing done to her once.
I beseech you, sir, ask him what this man did to my wife.
I beseech you, sir.
Ask me.
Well, sir, what did this gentleman do her?
Look into Master Froth here. Master Froth, look upon his eye. It is for a good purpose. Doth your honor see any harm in his face?
Why now?
I'll be supposed upon a book. His face is the worst thing about it. Good then. If his face be the worst thing about him, how could Master Froth do the constable's wife any harm? I would know that. Oh, your honor.
Is it the right constable? What say you to it?
First, and like you, the house is a respected house. Next, this is a respected fellow, and his mistress is a respected woman.
By this hand, sir, his wife is a more respected person than any of us all.
Varlet, thou liest, wicked varlet. The time is yet to come that she was ever respected with man, woman, or child.
Sir, is she respected with him before he married with her?
Which is the wiser here? Justice or iniquity? Is this true?
Oh, thou caitiff! Oh, thou varlet! Oh, thou wicked Hannibal! I was respected with her before I was married to her. If ever I was respected with her, or she with me, let not your worship think me the poor duke's officer. Prove this, thou wicked Hannibal, or I have mine action of battery on me.
If he took you a box of the year, you might have your action of slander, too.
Marry, I thank your good worship for it. What is your worship's pleasure I shall do with this wicked caitiff?
Truly, officer, because he hath some offences in him that thou wouldst discover, if thou couldst, let him continue in his courses till thou knowest what they are.
Marry, I thank your worship for it. Thou seest now, thou varlet, what's come upon me. Thou art to continue, thou varlet, thou art to continue.
Where were you born, friend?
Here, in Vienna, sir.
Are you of 80 pounds a year?
Yes, and it please you, sir.
Or what trade are you of, sir?
A tapster, sir.
A poor widow's tapster.
Your mistress's name?
Mistress Overdone.
Hath she had any more than one husband?
Aye, sir. Overdone by the last.
Aye. Come hither to me, Master Frog. Master Frog, I would not have you acquainted with tapsters. They will draw you, Master Frog, and you will hang them. Get you gone and let me hear no more of them.
I thank you, worship, for my own part. I've never come into any room in a tap house, but what I was drawn in.
Well, no more of them, Master Frog. Fare you well. Come you hither to me, a master tapster. What's your name, Master Tapster?
Pompey.
What else?
Bum, sir.
Shrub. And your bum is the greatest thing about you. So that in the beastliest sense, you are Pompey the Great. Pompey, you are partly a boy. Pompey, howsoever you coloured in being a tapster, are you not? Come, tell me truth. It shall be the better for you.
Truly? Sir, I'm a poor fellow that was the...
How would you live, Pompey? By being a boy. What do you think of the trade, Pompey? Is it a lawful trade?
The law would allow it, sir.
But the law will not allow it, Pompey, nor shall it not be allowed in Vienna.
Does your worship mean to geld and splay all the youth of the city?
No, Pompey.
Truly, sir, in my poor opinion, they will do it then. If your worship would take order for the drabs and the knaves, you need not to fear the bones.
There is pretty orders beginning, I can tell you. It is but heading and hanging.
If you head and hang all that have been that way for 10 years, you'll be glad to give out permission for more heads. If this law holds true in Vienna for 10 years, I'll rent the fairest house in it after 3 pence a day. If you live to see this day come to pass, say, Pompey told you so.
Thank you, good Pompey. And in requital of your prophecy, hark you, I advise you, let me not find you before me again upon any complaint whatsoever. No, not for dwelling where you do. If I do, Pompey, I shall beat you to your tent to prove a shrewd Caesar to you. In plain dealing, Pompey, I shall have you whipped. So for this time, Pompey, fare you well.
I thank your worship for your good counsel.
But I shall follow us, the flesh of fortune shall better determine.
Whip me?
No. Now let Carmen whip his gate. The valiant heart's not whipped out of his trade.
Come hither to me, Master Elbow. Come hither, Master Constable. How long have you been in this place of constable?
7 years and a half, sir.
I thought by the readiness in the office you had continued in it some time. You say 7 years together?
And a half, sir.
Alas, it has been great pains to you. They do you wrong to put you so oft upon. Are there not men in your ward sufficient to serve it?
Oh, faith, sir, few of any wit in such matters. As they have chosen, they are glad to choose me for them. I do it for some piece of money and go through with all.
Look you, bring me in the names of some 6 or 7, the most sufficient of your parish.
To your worship's house, sir.
To my house. Fare you well. What's o'clock, think you?
11, sir.
I pray you, home to dinner with me.
I humbly thank you.
It grieves me for the death of Claudio. There is no remedy.
Lord Angelo is severe.
It is but needful. Mercy is not itself that oft looks so. Pardon is still the nurse of second woe. But yet, poor Claudio.
There is no remedy.
Come, sir.
He is here in our cause. He will come straight. I'll tell him of it.
Pray you do. I'll know his pleasure. Maybe he will relent. Alas, he hath but as offended in a dream. All sex, all ages smack of this vice, and he to die for it. Now what's the matter, Provost? Is it your will Claudio shall die tomorrow? Did I not tell thee yea? Hadst thou not order, why dost thou ask again? Lest I might be too rash. Under your good correction, I have seen when after execution, judgment hath repented ere his doom. Go to, let that be mine. Do you your office, or give up your place, and you shall well be spared.
I crave your honor's pardon. What shall be done, sir, with groaning Juliet? She is very near her hour.
Dispose of her to some more fitter place, and that with speed.
Here the sister of the man condemned desires access to you.
Hath he a sister?
Aye, my good lord. A very virtuous maid, and to be shortly of a sisterhood, if not already.
Well, let her be admitted. See you the fornicatress be removed. Let her have needful but not lavish means. There shall be order for it.
Save your honor.
Stay a little while. You're welcome. What's your will?
I am a lawful suitor to your honor. Please, but your honor, hear me.
Well, what's your suit?
There is a vice that most I do abhor, and most desire should meet the bow of justice, for which I would not plead, but that I must, for which I must not plead, but that I am at war twixt will and will not.
Well, the matter?
I have a brother condemned to die. I do beseech you, let it be his fault and not my brother.
Heaven give thee moving graces. Condemn the fault and not the actor of it? Why, every fault's condemned there to be done. Mine with a very cipher of a function, to find the fault whose fine stands in record, and let go by the actor.
Oh, just, but severe law. I had a brother then. Heaven keep your honor.
Use not or so. Him again, entreat him, kneel before him, hang upon his cap. You are too cold. If you should need him, you could not with more tame and tongue desire. To him I say.
Must he needs die?
Maiden! No remedy.
Yes, I do think that you might pardon him, and neither heaven nor man breathe the mercy.
I will not do it.
But can you if you would?
No, what I will not, that I cannot do.
But might you do it, and do the world no wrong, if so your heart were touched with that remorse, as mine is to him?
He's sentenced. 'Tis too late.
You are too cold.
Too late. Why, no. I that do speak a word may call it back again. Well, believe this. No ceremony that equate one's lawn, not the king's crown, nor the deputed sword, the marshal's truncheon, nor the judge's robe, become them with one half so good a grace as mercy does. If he had been as you, and you as he, you would have slipped like him. But he, like you, would not have been so stern.
Pray you be God.
Oh, I would to heaven I had your potency, and you were the bell. Should it then be thus? No. I would tell what 'twere to be a judge and what a prisoner.
Aye, touch him, there's the vein.
Your brother is a forfeit of the law, and you but waste your words.
Alas, alas, for all the souls that were forfeit once, and he that might the vantage best have took, found out the remedy.
Be you content.
How would you be, if he which is the top of judgment should but judge you as you are? Oh, think on that, and mercy then will breathe within your lips like man new made.
Be you content, fair maid. 'Tis the law, not I, condemned your brother. Were he my kinsman, brother, or my son, it should be thus with him. He must die tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, that's sudden. Bear him. Bear him. He's not prepared for death. Even for our kitchens we kill the fowl of season. Shall we serve heaven with less respect than we do minister to our gross selves. Good, my lord, bethink you. Who is it that hath died for this offense? There's many have committed it.
Aye, well said.
The law hath not been dead, though it hath slept. Those many have not dared to do that evil. If the first that did, the edict infringed, had answered for his deed. Now 'tis awake, takes note of what is done, and like a prophet, looks in a glass that shows what future evils, either now or by remissness new conceived, are so in progress to be hatched and born, and to have no successive degrees, but ere they live to end.
Yet show some pity.
I show it most of all when I show justice, for then I pity those I do not know, which a dismissed offense would after gall and do him right, that answering one foul wrong lives not to act another. Be satisfied. Your brother dies tomorrow. Be content.
So you must be the first that gives this sentence, and he that suffers. Oh, it is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant.
That's well said.
Could great men thunder as Jove himself does? Jove would never be quiet. For every pelting petty officer would use his heaven for thunder, nothing but thunder. A merciful heaven, thou rather with thy sharp and sulphurous bolt splits the unwedgeable and gnarled oaks and the soft myrtle. But man, proud man, dressed in a little brief facade, most ignorant of what he's most assured. His glassy essence, like an angry ape, plays such fantastic tricks before high heaven as makes the angels weep, who with our spleens would all themselves laugh mortal.
To him which you relent is coming, I perceive it. Great heaven, she with him.
It cannot weigh our brother with ourselves. Great men may jest with saints, 'tis wit in them, but in the left, foul profanation.
Thou art the right girl, more.
That in the captain's but a choleric word, which in the soldier is flat blasphemy.
Why is that more?
Why do you put these sayings upon me?
Because authority, though it err like others, hath yet a kind of medicine in itself that skims the vice over the top. Go to your bosom, knock there, and ask your heart what it doth know that's like my brother's fault. If it confess a natural guiltness, such as it is, let it not sound a thought upon your tongue against my brother's life.
She speaks into such sense that my sense breathes with it. Fare you well.
Gentle, my lord, turn back.
I will bethink me. Come again tomorrow.
Hark how I ride you. Good Lord, turn back.
Bride me.
Bride, with such gifts that heaven shall share with you,
You had marred all else.
not with thorn sickles of the tested gold, nor stones whose grace are either rich or poor as fancy's value ends, but with true prayer, prayers that shall be up in heaven and enter there ere sunrise, prayers from deserted souls, from fasting maids whose minds are dedicated to nothing temporal.
Well, come to me tomorrow.
But you, 'tis well, away.
Heaven keep your honor safe.
Amen. For I am that way going to temptation, where prayers cross.
At what hour tomorrow shall I attend your lordship?
At any time for noon.
Save your honor.
From thee, even from thy virtue. What's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The tempter or the tempted who sins most? She. But it is I, that lying by the violet in the sun, do as the carrion does, not as the flower corrupt with virtuous season. Can it be that modesty may more betray our sense than woman's lightness? Having waste ground enough, shall we desire to raise the sanctuary and pitch our evils there? Oh, fie! What dost thou? Oh, what art thou, Angela? Dost thou desire her foully? For those things that make her good, oh, let her brother live. These for their robbery have authority when judges steal themselves. What? Do I love her? That I desire to hear her speak again and feast upon her eyes? What is't I dream on? Cunning enemy, that you catch a saint with saints, dost bait thy hook. Most dangerous is that temptation that doth goad us on to sin in love and virtue. Never could the strumpet with all her double vigor, art or nature once stir my temper. This virtuous maid subdues me quite. Ever till now, when men were fond, I smiled and wondered.
I think you are.
I am the provost. What's your will, good friar?
Bound by my charity and my blessed order, I come to visit the afflicted spirits here in the prison. Do me the common right to let me see them and to make me know the nature of their crimes, that I may minister to them accordingly.
I would do more than that, if more were needful.
Look, here comes one. A gentlewoman of mine, who, falling on the flaws of her own youth, hath blistered her report. She is with child, and he that got its sentence. A young man more fit to do another such offense than die for this.
When must he die?
As I do think tomorrow. I have provided for you. Stay a while. You shall be conducted.
Repent you, fair one, of this sin you carry.
I do, and bear the shame most patiently.
I'll teach you to arraign your conscience and try your penitence, if it be sound or hollow be put off.
I'll gladly learn.
Love you the man that wronged you?
Yes, because I love the woman that wronged him.
So then it seems your most offenseful act was mutually committed.
Mutually.
Then is your sin of heavier crime than his?
I do confess it and repent it, Father.
'Tis meet so, daughter. But least you do repent as that the sin that hath brought you to this shame.
I do repent me, as it is an evil, and take the shame with joy.
There rest. Your partner, as I hear, must die tomorrow, and I am going with instruction to him. Grace go with you. Benedicite.
Must die tomorrow? Oh, injurious love that respites me in life, whose very comfort is still a dying horror.
'Tis pity of him.
Heaven hath my empty words, whilst my invention, hearing not my tongue, anchors on his will. Heaven in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name, and in my heart, the strong and swelling evil of my conception. The state whereon I studied is like a good thing, being often read, grown sere and tedious. Yea, my gravity, wherein, that no man hear me, I take pride. Could I with boot change for an idle plume which the air beats for vain? Place, form, how often dost thou with thy case, thy habit, wrench awe from fools and tie the wiser souls to thy false seeming? Blood, thou art blood. That's right, good angel on the devil's horn. 'Tis not the devil's crest. How now? Who's there?
One Isabel, a sister, desires access to you.
Teach her the way.
Oh, heavens.
Why does my blood thus muster to my heart, making it both unable for itself and dispossessing all my other parts of necessary fitness? So play the foolish throngs with one that swoons, come all to help him, and by so stop the air by which he should revive. And even so the general, subject to a well-wished king, quit their own part, and in obsequious fondness crowd to his presence where their untaught love must needs appear offense. How now, Fendi?
I am come to know your pleasure.
That you might know it would much better please me than to demand what is. Your brother cannot live.
Even so, heaven keep your honor.
Yet he may live a while, and it may be as long as you or I. He must die.
Under your sentence.
Yea.
When? I beseech you, that in his reprieve, longer or shorter, he may be so fitted that his soul sicken not.
These filthy vices. 'Twas good to pardon them, that from nature stolen a man already made, as to remit their saucy sweetness, that to coin heaven's image in stamps that are forbid. 'Tis all as easy falsely to take away a life true made, as to put metal in restrained means to make a false one.
'Tis set down so in heaven, but not in earth.
Say you so? Then I shall pose you quickly. Which had you rather, that the most just law now took your brother's life, or to redeem him, give up your body to such sweet uncleanness as she that he hath stained?
Sir, believe this. I had rather give my body than my soul.
I talk not of your soul. Our compelled sins stand more for number than for account.
How say you?
Nay, I'll not warrant that, for I can speak against the things I say. Answer to this. I, now the voice of the recorded law, pronounce a sentence on your brother's life. Might there not be a charity in sin to save this brother's life?
Please you to do it. I will take it as a peril to my soul. It is no sin at all, but charity.
Pleased you to do it at peril of your soul were equal poise of sin and charity.
That I do beg his life. If it's a sin, heaven let me bear it. You granting of my suit, if that be sin, I'll make it my morn prayer to have it added to the faults of mine and nothing of your answer.
Nay, but hear me. Your sense pursues not mine, either you are ignorant or seem so. And that's not good.
Let me be ignorant, and in nothing good, but graciously know I am no better.
Thus wisdom wishes to appear most bright when it doth tax itself, as these black masks proclaim it in shield beauty 10 times louder than beauty could displayed. But mark me, to be received plain, I'll speak more gross. Your brother is to die.
So,
And his offense is so as it appears, accountant to the law upon that pain.
true.
Admit no other way to save his life, as I subscribe not that nor any other. But it is also question that you, his sister, finding yourself desired of such a person whose credit with the judge or own great place, could fetch your brother from the manacles of the all-binding law, and that there be no earthly means to save him, but that either you must lay down the treasures of your body to this supposed, or else to let him suffer. What would you do?
As much for my poor brother as myself. That is, were I under the terms of death, the impression of keen wits I'd wear as rubies, and strip myself to death, as to a bed that longing hath been fit for, ere I yield my body up to shame.
Then must your brother die.
And for the cheaper way, better were a brother died at once, than that a sister, by redeeming him, should die forever.
Were not you as cruel then as the sentence you have slandered so?
Ignominy and ransom and free pardon are of 2 houses. Lawful mercy is nothing kin to foul redemption.
You seem of late to make the law a tyrant, and rather prove the sliding of your brother a merriment than a vice.
Oh, pardon me, my lord. If aught falls out, to have what we would have, we speak not what we mean. I've something to excuse the thing I hate, for his advantage that I dearly love.
We are all frail.
Else let my brother die, if not at the onery, but only he owe and succeed thy weakness.
Women are frail too.
Aye, as the glasses where they view themselves, which are really broken, they make form. Women help heaven. Men, their creation, mar and profiting by them. We may call us 10 times frail, for we are soft as our complexions are, and credulous to false prints.
I think it well. And from the testimony of your own sex, since I suppose we are made to be no stronger than faults may shake our frames, let me be bold. I do arrest your words. Be that you are, that is, a woman. If you be more, you're none. If you be one, as you are well expressed by all external warrants, show it now by putting on the destined livery.
I have no tongue but one. Gentle my lord, let me entreat you, speak the former language.
Plainly conceive, I love you.
My brother did love Juliet, and you tell me that he shall die for her.
I shall not, Isabel, if you give me love.
I know your virtue hath a license in it, which seems a little fouler than it is to pluck on others.
Believe me, on mine honor, my words express my purpose.
Oh, little honor, we must believe, and most pernicious purpose, feeling. I will proclaim thee, Angelo. Look for it. Sign me a present pardon for my brother, or with an outstretched throat I tell the world out loud what man thou art.
Who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, and my place in the state, will so your accusation overweigh that you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny. I have begun, and now I give my sensual race the rein. Fit thy consent to my sharp appetite, lay by all nicety and prolixious blushes that banish what they sue for. Redeem thy brother by yielding thy body up to my will, or else he must not only die the death, but thy unkindness shall his death draw out to lingering sufferance. Answer me tomorrow, or by the affections that now guide me most, I'll prove a tyrant to him. As for you, say what you can. My false o'erweighs your true.
To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or of proof, bidding them all make curtsies to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite, to follow like a draw. I am too my brother, though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor, that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'd yield them up. Before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabel lives, chaste, and brother dies. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request, and fit his mind to death, for his soul's rest.
The miserable have no other medicine but only hope. I have hope to live and am prepared to die.
Be absolute for death. Either death or life will thereby be the sweeter. Reason thus with life. If I do lose thee, I do lose a thing that none but fools would keep. A breath, thou art servile to all the skyey influence. Thou art not noble, for all the accommodations that thou payest are nursed by baseness. Thou art not valiant. Thou art not thyself, for thou exists on many 1,000 grains that issue out of dust. Happy art thou not, for what thou hast not thou strivest to get, and what thou hast forgetst. Thou art not certain, for thy complexion shifts to strange effects after the moon. Thou hast no youth, nor age, but as it were, an after-dinner sleep dreaming on both. Yet in this life lie hid more 1,000 deaths. Yet death we fear, that makes these odds only even.
I humbly thank you. To sue to live, I find I seek to die, and seeking death, find life. Let it come on.
What ho! He's here! Great and good company!
Who's there? Oh, come in. The wish deserves a welcome.
Yes, sir, ere long I'll visit you.
Most holy sir, I thank thee.
My business is a word or two with Claudio.
And very welcome. Look, Signor, here's your sister.
Oh, what's the matter with you?
As many as you please.
Bring me to hear them speak where I may be concealed.
Now, sister, what's the comfort?
Why, as all comes from God, most good indeed. Lord Angelo, having affairs to heaven, intends you for his swift ambassador, where you shall be an everlasting leader. Therefore, your best appointment make with speed. Tomorrow you set on.
Is there no remedy?
None. But such remedy as to save a head, to cleave a heart in twain.
But is there any?
Yes, brother. You may live. There is a devilish mercy in the judge if you'll implore it, that will free you of life, but better you still death.
Perpetual durance?
Right, just perpetual durance, a restraint, though all the world's vastness you had to a determined scope.
But in what nature?
In such one, as you consenting to it, would bark your honor from that trunk you bear and leave you naked.
Let me know the point.
Oh, I do fear thee, Claudio, and I pray, lest thou a feverish life shouldst entertain, and fix our 7 winters more respect than a perpetual honor. Darest thou die? The sense of death is most in apprehension, and the poor beetle that we tread upon in corporal sufferance finds a pang as great as when a giant dies.
Why give you me this shame? Think you I can a wretched fetch for flowery tenderness? If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride and hug it in mine arms.
There spake my brother, there my father's grave did utter forth a voice. Yes, thou must die. Thou art too noble to conserve a life in base appliances. This outward fainted deputy, whose subtle visage and deliberate words mix youth in the head, and follies doth anew, as falcon doth the fowl, is yet a devil. His filth within being cast, he would appear upon the steepest hell.
The frenzy, Angelo.
Oh, 'tis the cunning livery of hell, the damnedest body to invest and cover and semi guard. Dost thou think, Claudio, if I were to yield him my virginity, thou mightst be free?
Oh, heavens! It cannot be.
Yes. He would give it thee from this rank offense. So to offend him still, this night's the time that I should do what I abhor to name. Or else thou diest tomorrow.
Thou shalt not do't.
Oh, were it but my life, I would throw it down for your deliverance as straightly as a pin.
Thanks, dear Isabel.
Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow.
Yes. Has he affections in him that thus can make him bite the law by the nose when he would force it? Sure, it is no sin.
or of the deadly 7 it is the least?
Which is the least?
If it were damnable, he being so wise, why would he for the momentary trick be perdurably fined? O Isabel,
What says my brother?
death is a fearful thing.
And shame is life, a hateful.
Aye, but to die, though we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot. This sensible warm motion to become a kneading clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick ripid ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worse than worst of those that lawless and incertain thought imagine howling. 'Tis too horrible. The weariest and most loathing worldly life that age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lay on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death.
Alas, alas!
Sweet sister, let me live. What sin you do to save a brother's life, nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue.
Oh, you beast! Oh, faithless coward! Oh, dishonest wretch! Wilt thou be made a man out of my advice? It's not the kind of incest to take life from thine own sister's shame. What should I think? Heaven shield my mother, play my father fair. For such a wanted little wilderness, nourish you from his blood, take my defiance, die, perish. Might but my bending down reprieve me from my fate, it should proceed. I'll pray 1,000 prayers for my death. No word to save me.
Nay, hear me, Isabel.
Oh, fie, fie, fie! The life is not accidental, but a trade. Mercy to thee prove itself a bond. 'Tis best that thou diest quickly.
Oh, hear me, Isabella.
Vouchsafe a word, young sister, but one word.
What is your will?
Might you dispense with your leisure, I would by and by have some speech with you. The satisfaction I would require is likewise your own benefit.
I have no superfluous leisure. My stay must be stolen out of other affairs. But I will attend you for a while.
Son, I have overheard what hath passed between you and your sister. Angelo had never the purpose to corrupt her, only he hath made an assay of her virtue, to practice his judgment with the disposition of nature. She, having the truth of honor in her, hath made him that gracious denial, which Angelo is most glad to receive. I am confessor to Lord Angelo, and know this to be true. Therefore, prepare yourself to death. Do not satisfy your resolution with hopes that are fallible. Tomorrow you must die. Go to your knees. Make ready.
Let me ask my sister pardon. I am so out of love with life that I will soon to be rid of it.
Hold you there. I will. Provost, the word for you.
What's your will, good friar?
Thus now you are come, you will be gone.
In good time.
The hand that hath made you fair hath made you good. The assault that Angelo hath made you, fortune hath conveyed to my understanding. And but for that frailty I should wonder at Angelo. How will you do to content this substitute and to save your brother?
I am now going to resolve him. I had rather my brother die by the law than that my son should be unlawfully born. But oh, how much is the good Duke deceived in Angelo? If ever he return and I can speak to him, I will open my lips in vain or discover his government.
That shall not be much amiss. Yet as the matter now stands, he will avoid your accusation. Therefore, fasten your ear on my advisings, To the love I have in doing good, a remedy presents itself. I do make myself believe that you may most uprighteously do a poor wronged lady a merited benefit. Redeem your brother from the angry law. Do no stain to your own gracious person, and much please the absent Duke, if peradventure he shall ever have returned to have hearings of this business.
Oh, let me hear you speak, good father. I have spirit to do anything that appears not foul in the truth of my spirit.
Virtue is bold, and goodness never fearful. Have you not heard speak of Marianne, the sister of Frederick the great soldier who was miscarried at sea?
I have heard of the lady, and good words went with her name.
She should this Angelo have married, was affianced to her oath, the nuptial appointed, between which time of contract and limit of solemnity was her brother wrecked at sea. There she lost a noble and renowned brother. With him, the portion and sinew of her fortune, her marriage dowry, with both her combinate husband, this well-seeming Angelo.
Can this be so? Did Angelo so leave her?
Left her in her tears, and dried not one of them with his comfort. Swallowed his vows whole, pretending in her discoveries of dishonor. In few, bestowed her on her own lamentation, which she yet wears for his sake. And he, a marble to her tears, is washed with them, but relents not.
What a merit were in death to take this poor maid from the world. What corruption in life that it would let this man live. But how out of this can she live?
It is a rupture that you may easily heal. And the cure of it not only saves your brother, but keeps you from dishonor and doom.
The image of it gives me content already, and I trust that it will grow to a most prosperous perfection.
It lies with you. This forenamed maid, who hath in her the continuance of her first affection, go you to Angelo. Agree with his demands to the point. First, that your stay with him may not be long. That the time have all shadow and silence in it, and the place answer to convenience. This being granted, we will advise this maid to go in your place. If the encounter acknowledge itself hereafter, it may compel him to her recompense. The maid will I frame and make fit for his attempt. What think you of?
Oh, I thank you for this comfort.
It lies much in your holding up. Haste you speedily to Angelo. If for this night he entreat you to his bed, give him promise of satisfaction. I go presently to St. Luke's. There at the moated grange resides this dejected Marianne. Dispatch with Angelo, and make it that it's quickly.
Fare you well, good father.
For it, but you will needs buy and sell men and women like beasts. We shall have all the world drink brown and white bastard.
Oh, heaven, what stuff is here? No, 'twas never a merry world since of two usuries the merriest was put down by order of law and the worser allowed.
On your way, sir. Bless you, good father, friar.
And you, good brother, father.
What offense hath this man made you, sir?
Marry, sir, he hath offended the law. And, sir, we take him to be a thief, too, sir. What we have found upon him, sir, a strange picklock which we have sent to the deputy.
Fie, sirrah. A bawd, a wicked bawd. The evil that thou causest to be done, that is thy means to live. Do never think what is to cram a more, or clothe a back from such a filthy vice. Canst thou believe thy living is a life so stinkingly depending? Go men,
Indeed, it does stink in some sort. But yet, I would prove that
If the devil had proved your sin, thou wilt prove his. Take him to prison, officer. Correction and instruction must both work ere this rude beast will profit.
He must before the deputy, sir. He has given him warning already. The deputy cannot abide a whoremaster. If he be a whoremonger and he comes before him, he could go a mile on his errand.
That we were all, as some would seem to be, from our faults, as faults from seeming free.
His neck will come to your waist. A cord, sir.
I spy comfort. I cry, Bell, here's a gentleman and a friend of mine.
Oh, no, noble Pompey. What is the wheels of Caesar? Art thou led in triumph? What say'st thou, this tuned matchwood method? Is not round the last grain, huh? What say'st thou, Trot? Is the world as was man? Which is the way? Is it sad, you well? Or how? The trick of it?
Still lost and lost still work.
How doth my dear morsel thy mistress? Procures she still, huh?
She hath eaten up all her beef, and she herself is in the tub.
Why, 'tis good. It is the right of it. It must be so. Ever your fresh whore and your powdered bawd, in unshunned consequence, it must be so. Art going to prison, Pompey?
Yes, faith, sir.
Why, 'tis good. Farewell, good Pompey. Go, say I sent thee thither. For debt, Pompey, or how?
For being a bawd. For being a bawd.
Well, then imprison him. If imprisonment be to do a bawd, why, 'tis his right. Bawd is he doubtless, and of antiquity too. Bawd born. Commend me to the prison, Pompey. You will turn good husband now, Pompey. You will keep the house.
I hope that your good worship would be my bed.
No, we people are not, Pompey. It is not the wear. I will pray, Pompey, to increase your bondage, if you take it not patiently, while your metal is the more. Adieu, trusty Pompey. Bless you, friar.
And you.
Does Bridget pay still, Pompey, huh?
Come your way, sir.
You will tell me that, sir.
Then, Pompey, going now. What news abroad, friar? What news?
Come your way, sir. Come.
Go to kennel, Pompey, go! What news abroad, friar? What news of the Duke, friar?
I know none. Can you tell me of any?
Some say he's with the Emperor of Russia. Some he's in Rome. But where is he, think you?
I know not where, but wheresoever I wish him well.
It was a mad, fantastical trick of him to steal from the state and usurp the beggary he was never born to. Lord Angelo dukes it well in his absence. He puts transgression to it.
He does well in it.
A little more lenity to a lechery would do no harm in him. Something too crabbed that way, friar.
It is too general a vice, and severity must cure it.
Yes, in good sooth, the vices of a great kindred. It is well allied. But it is impossible to extirp it quite, friar, till eating and drinking be put down. They say this Angelo was not made by man and woman after the downright way of creation, huh? Is it true, think you?
How should he be made then?
Some report a sea mate spawned him. Some that is begot between two stockfishes. But it is certain that when he makes water, his urine is continual ice. That I know to be true. And his motion generative. That's infallible.
You are pleasant, sir, and speak apace.
Why, what a ruthless thing is this in him, the rebellion of a codpiece to take away the life of a man. Would the Duke that Saturn have done this? And he would have hanged a man for giving 100 bastards. He would have paid for the nursing of 1,000. The Duke had crotchets in him. He would be drunk, too, that let me inform you.
I never heard the absent Duke much detected for women. He was not inclined that way.
Oh, sir, you are deceived.
It's not possible.
Who, not the Duke? Yes, you beggar of 50. And his use was to put a ducat in her clack dish. He had some feeling of the sport. He knew the service, and that instructed him to mercy.
You do him wrong, sure.
Sir, I was an inward of his. A shy fellow was the Duke, and I believe I know the cause of his withdrawing.
What I pray might be the cause?
No, Barney, his secrets must be locked within the teeth and lips. But this I can let you understand. The great defile of the subject tells the Duke to be wise.
Wise? But no question that he was.
A very superficial, unweighing, ignorant fellow.
Neither this is envying you, folly or mistaken. The very stream of his life, and the business he hath held, must upon a warranted need give him a better proclamation. Let him be but testimonied in his bringing forth, and he shall appear to thee envious, a statesman, a scholar, and a soldier. Therefore you speak unskillfully. Or if your knowledge be more, it is much darkened in your malice.
Sir, I know him and I love him.
Love talks with better knowledge, and knowledge with dear love.
Come, sir, I know what I know.
Oh, I can hardly believe that, since you know not what you speak. But, if ever the Duke were to return, as our prayers are, he may. Let me desire you to make your answer before him. Well, if it be honest what you have spoke, you have courage to maintain it. I am bound to call upon you. I tell you, your name?
My name is Lucio, well known to the Duke.
We shall know you better, sir, if I may live to report.
I fear you not.
You'll forswear this again.
I'll be hanged first. Thou art deceived in me, friar. But no more talk of this. Canst thou tell if Claudio died tomorrow or no?
Why should he die, sir?
Why? Fulfilling a bottle with a tongue dish. I wish the Duke we speak of were returned. This ungenitive agent will unpeople the province with continency. Sparrows must not build in his houses because they are lecherous. The Duke yet would have dark deeds darkly answered. He would never bring them to light. Marry this Claudio is condemned for unthrusting. Farewell, good friar. I prithee, pray for me. The Duke, and I say to thee again, would eat mutton on Fridays. He's now past it, and yet, and I say to thee, he would mouth with a beggar, though she smelt of brown bread and garlic. Say that I said so. Farewell.
No might, no greatness, immortality can censure escape. That wounding calumny, the whitest virtue strikes. What king so strong can tie the gall in this slanderous tongue? Please, Your Honor.
Oh, this is one Lucille's information against me. Mistress Kate Teasdale was with child by him in the Duke's time. He promised her marriage. His child is a year and a quarter old, confused and I have kept it myself and see how it goes about to abuse me.
That fellow is a fellow of much might. Let him be called before us.
Away with them!
Must die tomorrow. Let him be furnished with divines and have all charitable preparation. My brother wrought by my pity should not be so with him.
So please you, this friar hath been with him and advised him for the entertainment of death.
Good evening, good father.
Bliss and goodness on you.
Of whence are you?
Not of this country, though my chance is now to use it for my time. I am a brother of gracious order, late come from the sea, in special business from his holiness.
What news abroad in the world?
None, but that there is so great a fever put on it, put on goodness, and the disillusion of it must cure it. I pray you, of what disposition was the Duke?
One that, above all other strifes, contended especially to know himself.
What pleasure was he given to?
Rather rejoicing to see another merry than merry, and it is best to make him rejoice. A gentleman of all temperance. But leave we him to his events. With a prayer, they may prove prosperous. And let me desire to know how you find Claudio prepared. I may understand you have lent him visitation.
He professes to have received no sinister measure from his judge, but most willingly humbles himself to the determination of justice, and is now resolved to die.
You have paid the heavens your function, and the prisoner the very debt of your calling. I have labored for the poor gentleman to the extremest shore of my modesty. But my brother Justice have I found so severe that he hath forced me to tell him he is indeed justice.
And if his own life answer to the straight line and proceedings of his justice, it becomes him well, wherein if chance to fail, he hath sentenced himself.
I'm going to visit the prisoner. Fare you well.
Peace be with you. Craft against vice I must apply. But Angelo tonight shall lie his old betrothed, but despised. So disguised shall by the disguised pay with falsehood a false exacting, and perform an old contracting. Charm to make bad good and good provoke to harm. I pray you, has anyone inquired for me here today?
You've not been inquired after. I've sat here all day.
I do constantly believe you. The time has come even now. I shall crave your forbearance today. Maybe I will call upon you anon for some advantage to yourself.
I'm always bound to you.
Very well met. Welcome. What's the news from this good day?
He has a garden, secured with brick, whose western side is with a vineyard down, and to that vineyard is a planchèd gate. There have I made my promise upon the heavy middle of the night to call upon him.
But shall you on your knowledge find this one?
I have taken a due and wearing note upon it. He did show me the way twice o'er.
Are there no other tokens between you agreed concerning her observance?
No, none, but only a repair in the dark. And that I have possessed him, my most stay handy but brief. For I have a servant comes with me along that stays upon me, whose persuasion is, I come about my brother.
'Tis well borne out. I have not yet made known to Mariana a word of this. What ho, within? Come forth. I pray you, be acquainted with this maid. She comes to do you good.
I do desire the like.
Do you persuade yourself that I respect you?
Good friar, I know you do, and have found it.
Then take this, your companion by the hand, who hath a story ready for your ear. I shall attend your leisure, but make haste. The vaporous night approaches.
Will't please you walk aside?
Oh, place greatness. Millions of false eyes are stuck upon thee. Volumes of report run with these false and most contrarious quest upon thy due. Thousand escapes of wit run with these most false eyes, and rack thee in their fancies. Welcome, how agree?
She'll take the enterprise upon her, father. You advise it.
It is not my consent, but my entreaty too.
Little have you to say when you depart from him, but soft and low. Remember now, my brother,
Fear me not.
No, gentle daughter, fear you not at all. He is your husband on a free contract. To bring you thus together, 'tis no sin. Come, let us go. Our corn story, get our tides to sow.
Come hither, sir. Can you cut off a man's head?
The man be a bachelor, sir, I can. But if he be a married man, he's his wife's head. And I can never cut off a woman's head.
Come, sir, leave me your snatches, and yield me a direct answer. Tomorrow morning are to die Claudio and Barnardine. Here in our prison lies a common executioner, who in his office lacks a helper. If you will take it on you to assist him, it shall redeem you of your gyves. If not, you shall have the full time of imprisonment and your deliverance with an unpitied whipping, for you have been a notorious bawd.
I have been an unlawful bawd, time out of mind, but yet I will be content to be a lawful hangman. I'll be glad to receive some instruction from my fellow partners.
Well, no, a portion! Where's the portion there?
You call, sir?
Sirrah, here is a fellow who will help you tomorrow in your execution. If you think it meet, compound with him by the year and let him abide here with you. If not, use him for the present and dismiss him. He cannot plead his estimation with you. He hath been a bawd.
A bawd, sir? Fly upon him! He will discredit all mystery.
Go to, sir. You twain equal. A feather will turn the scale.
Pray, sir, for your good favor, for surely a good favor you have, but that you have a hanging look. Do you call, sir, your occupation a mystery?
Aye, sir, a mystery.
Painting, sir, I've heard say mystery. And your bawds being members of my occupation, using painting to prove my occupation to be a mystery, but what mystery there should be in hanging? If I were to be hanged, I could not imagine.
Sir, it is a mystery.
Proof.
Every true man's apparel fits your thief. If it be too little for your true man thinks it's big enough. If it be too big for your thief thinks it's little enough.
So every true man's apparel fits your thief?
Are you agreed?
Sir, I will serve him, for I do find your hangman a more penitent trade than your bawd. He doth oftener ask forgiveness.
You, sir, provide your block and your axe tomorrow, 4 o'clock.
Come on, bawd.
Follow.
I do hope to learn your trade, sir, and I do hope that if you have a chance to use me for your own turn, you shall find me yard. For truly, for your good favor, I owe you a good service.
Call him the Barnardine and Claudio. The one has my pity, not a jot the other, being a murderer though he were my brother. Look, Claudio, here is the warrant for thy death. It is now dead midnight, and by 8 tomorrow thou must be made immortal.
How's Barnaby? As fast locked up in sleep as guilt is labor, when it lies softly on the traveler's bones. He will not wake.
You can do good on him. Well, go prepare yourself. What noise? Heaven give your spirits comfort. By and by. I hope it is some pardon or reprieve to most gentle Claudio.
Welcome, Father. The best and wholesome spirits of the night envelop you, good provost. Who called here of late?
None since the curfew rung.
Not Isabel?
No.
They will then as we know.
What comfort is for Claudio?
There is some in hope.
It is a bitter deputy.
But not so. Not so. Even with the great line, stroke in line of his great justice, this being so, he is just. Now are they come. This is a gentle provost. Selden when the still Gerald, friend of friends. Now what a horse.
This is his lordship's man.
And he is Claudio's pardon.
My lord hath sent you this note, and by me this further charge, that you swerve not from the smallest article of it, neither in time, matter, or other circumstance. Tomorrow, for, as I take it, it is almost day. I shall obey him.
This is his pardon, purchased by such sin, for which the pardoner himself is in. When vice makes mercy, mercy is so extended, and for that false gloves the offender. Now, sir, what news?
I told you, Lord Angelo, alike thinking me remiss in mine office, awakens me with this unwonted putting on. He thinks strangely, for he hath not used it before.
Pray, let's hear it.
Whatsoever you may hear to the contrary, let Claudio be executed by 4 of the clock. And in the afternoon, Barnardine, for my better satisfaction, let me have Claudio's head sent me by 5.
Let this be duly performed, with the thought that more depends on it than we must yet deliver.
Thus fail not to do your office, as you will answer it at your peril. What say you to this, sir?
What is that Barnardine who's to be executed in the afternoon?
A Bohemian born, but here nursed up and bred, one that is a prisoner 9 years old.
How came it that the absent Duke had not either delivered him to his liberty or executed him?
His friends sought reprieves for him, and indeed his facts, until now in the government of Lord Angelo, came not to undoubtful proof.
It is now apparent.
Most manifest, and not denied by himself.
Had he borne himself penitently in prison, how seems he to be touched?
A man that apprehends death no more dreadfully, but as a drunken sleep, careless, reckless, and fearless of what's past, present, or to come, insensible of mortality, and desperately mortal.
He wants advice.
He will hear now. He hath evermore had the liberty of the prison. Give him leave to escape hence, he would not.
Drunk many times a day, if not many days entirely drunk. We have very often waked him as if to carry him to execution, and showed him the seeming warrant for it. It hath not moved him at all.
More of him anon. There is written in your brow, Provost, honesty and constancy. If I read it not truly, my ancient skill beguiles me. The warrant you have for Claudio's death. Claudio is no more not worth than Angelo who hath sent it. To make you understand this in a more manifested effect, I crave but 4 days' rest, for which you are to do me both a present and dangerous courtesy.
Yes, sir. What?
In the delay in death.
Alack, how may I do it? Have the hour limited, and an express command, under penalty, to deliver his head in view of Angelo? I may make my case as Claudio's to cross this in the small.
By the vow of mine order, I warrant you, if my instruction be your guide, let this Barnardine be executed, and his head borne to
Angelo hath seen them both, and will discover the favor.
Oh, death's a great disguise, and you may add to it. Shave the head and tie the beard and say what's the desire of the penitent to be so bared before his death. You know the course has come.
Pardon me, good father. It is against my oath.
Were you sworn to the Duke or to the deputy?
To him and his substitutes.
You will think you have made no offense if the Duke avouched the justice of your dear.
But what likelihood is in that?
Not a resemblance, but a certainty. Yet since you are fearful, I will go further than I meant to pluck all fears out of you. Look, sir. This is the hand and seal of the Duke. You know the character, I doubt not, and the signet is not strange to you.
I know them both.
The contents of this letter is the Duke's return. It is whereon you shall overread at your pleasure that he will be here within these 2 days. This is a thing that Angelo knows not, for he this very day receives letters of strange tenor, perchance of the Duke's death, perchance of him entering into some monastery, but by chance nothing of what is written. Call your executioner hither, and off with Barnardine's head. I will give him a present shrift and advise him to a better place. Yet you are amazed, but this shall absolutely resolve you. Come, away, it is almost cleared off.
I'm as well acquainted here as I was in our own house of profession. One would think it were Mistress Overdone's own house, for here are many of her old customers. First have we here young Master Caper at the suit of Master Threepile the Mercer for some 4 suits of peach-colored satin, which now peaches him a beggar. Then have we here young Drop Hair that killed Lusty Pudding, Master Forthright the Tilter, Wild Hat Cant Stabbed Pots, and I think 40 more. All great doers in our trade, nor now, for the Lord's sake.
Sirrah! Bring Barnardine hither.
Barnaby. You must rise and be hanged, Master Barnaby.
What? Barnaby! Oh, back to your throat! Who makes that noise there? Where are you?
It is your friend, sir, the hangman. You must be so good, sir, to rise and be put to death.
Away, rogue, away! I am sleepy. Tell him he must awake, and that quickly, too.
Sir, you must rise and be hanged, sir.
Go into him and fetch him out.
He's coming, sir. He is coming, sir.
What, axe upon the block, sirrah?
Very ready, sir.
Hello, Gorson. What's the news with you? Truly, sir, I would desire you to clap into your prayers. For look you, the war is come. Oh, you rogue. I have been drinking all night. I must be forced.
All the better, sir, for he who drinks all night is hanged betimes the morning. Can sleep all the sounder the next day.
Look you, here comes your ghostly father. Do we jest now, think you?
Sir, induced by my charity, I come to pray with you, comfort you, and advise you.
Friar! Not I, for I have been drinking hard all night, and I will have more time to prepare the oar. They'll beat my brains out with spirits! I swear I will not die today, and that is certain.
Oh, sir, you must. Therefore, I beseech you, look cold on the journey you shall go.
I will not die today for any man's persuasion.
But here you...
Not a word. If you have anything to say to me, come to my ward. For thence shall not die today.
Unfit to live or die. Oh, after him, fellows, to the block with him.
Now, sir, how do you find the prisoner?
A creature unprepared on meat for death, and to transport him in the mind he is with damned.
Here in the prison, Father, there died this morning of a cruel fever one Ragozine, a most notorious pirate, a man of Claudio's years, his beard and head just of his color. What if we do omit this reprobate until you were well inclined and satisfied the deputy with the visage of Ragozine, more like to Claudio?
Oh, 'tis an accident that heaven provides. Dispatch it first.
I will go to it, Father, presently, but Barnardine must die this afternoon. And how shall we continue Claudio to save me from the danger that might come if he were known alive?
Let this be done. Put them in secret holes, both Barnardine and Claudio. There you shall find your safety, man.
I am your free dependent.
Quick, dispatch presently, and send ahead to Angelo. Now will I write letters to Angelo. The provost he shall bear them, whose witness shall say that I am near at home. Him I'll desire thee to meet me at the consecrated font a league below the city, and from thence shall we proceed.
Here's the head. I'll carry it myself.
Convenient, is it? Make a swift return, for I would commune with you of such things that want no ear but yours.
I'll make all speed.
Wow! He's here!
The town officer. She comes to know if yet her brother's pardon be come hither. But I will keep her ignorant of her good, to make her heavenly comfort when it is least expected.
Yes, the deputy sent my brother's pardon.
We have released him, Isabel, from the world. His head is off and sent to Angelo.
Nay, but it is not so.
It is no other. Show your wisdom in your close patience.
Oh, I will to him and pluck out his eyes.
You shall not be admitted to his sight.
Unhappy Claudio, wretched Isabel, and joy world's most damned Angelo.
This nor hurts him, nor profits you a jot. Forbear it, therefore. Give your cause to heaven. Mark what I say. The Duke comes home tomorrow. Nay, dry your eyes. One of our covenant have carried notice to Escalus and Langdor, who do prepare to meet him at the gates there to give up their power. If you can pace your wisdom in that good path that I would wish it go, and you shall have your bosom on this wretch. Graces to the Duke, revenges to your heart and general honor.
I am directed by you.
This letter, the Friar Peter give, 'tis that he sent me of the Duke's return. Say by this token, I desire his company at Mariana's house tonight. Her cause and yours I'll perfect him withal, and he shall bring you before the Duke and Angelo, accuse him home and home. For my poor self I am combined by a sacred vow and shall be absent. When you with this letter, command these fretted waters of your eyes with a light heart. Trust not my holy order if I pervert your course. Who's here?
Good evening. Friar, where's the provost?
Not within, sir.
Oh, pretty Isabella, I am pale as my heart to see thine eyes so red. Thou must be patient. I am fain to dine and sup with water and bran. I dare not to my head fill my belly. One fruitful meal would set me toot. But they say the Duke will be here tomorrow. By my troth, Isabel, I loved thy brother. If the old fantastical Duke of Darkoris had been at home, he had lived.
Sir, the Duke is marvelous, little beholding to your reports. But the best is, he lives not in.
While thou knowest not the Duke so well as I do, he's a better wordman than thou takest him for.
You'll forswear this again. One day, fare ye well.
Nay, tarry, I will go along with thee. I can tell thee pretty tales of the Duke.
You have told me too many of him already, sir, if they be true. If not true, none were enough.
I was once before him for getting a wench with child.
Did you such a thing?
Yes, marry, did I? But I was vain to forswear it. They else would have married me to the rotten meddler.
Your company is fair than honest. Rest you well.
Nay, by my troth, I will go with thee to Lane's End. If body talk offend you, we'll have very little of it. Nay, friar, I make my slur. I shall stick.
Every letter he hath writ hath disvouched other in most uneven and distracted manner. His actions show much like to madness. Pray heaven his wisdom be not tainted. And why meet him at the gates and redeliver our authorities there?
I guess not.
And why should we proclaim it in an hour before his entering that if any crave redress of injustice, they should exhibit their petitions in the street?
He shows his reason for that, to have a dispatch of complaints, and to deliver us from devices hereafter, which shall then have no power to stand against us.
Well, I beseech you, let it be proclaimed betimes to the morn. I'll call you at your house. Give notice to such men of sword and suit as are to meet him.
I shall, sir. Very well.
Good night. This deed unshapes me quite, makes me unpregnant and dull to all proceedings. But if flower to make it, and by an eminent body that enforce the law against it, but that her tender shame will not proclaim against her maiden loss, how might she tongue me? Yet reason dares her know, for my authority bears off a crescent folk, that no particular scandal once can touch. It confounds the free. He should have lived, save that his riotous youth with dangerous sense might in the times to come obtain revenge, and by so receiving a dishonored life with ransom of such shame, would yet he had lived. Alack, when once our grace we have forgotten, nothing goes right. We would not.
These letters have fit time to deliver me. The provost knows our purpose and our plot. Keep you to your instruction, and hold you ever to our special drift.
It shall be speeded well.
You speak so indirectly, high and bold. I would say truth, but to accuse themselves, that is your part. Yet I am advised to do it. Well, he says to baleful purpose. Be ruled by him. Besides, he tells me that it's her adventure to speak against me on the adverse side. I should not think it strange, for 'tis a physic that's bitter to sweet him. Oh, I would, Friar Peter. Oh, Peter, our brother is come.
Come, I have found you. I'll stand most fit, for on you shall have such vantage of the Duke, he shall not pass you. Twice have the trumpet sounded. The generous and greatest citizens have hemmed the gate, very near upon the Duke's entry. Therefore, hence, away.
Happy return be to your royal grace.
Many and hearty thankings to you both. We have made enquiry of you, and we hear such goodness of your justice, that our soul cannot but yield you forth to public thanks for running more requital.
You make my marvels still greater.
Oh, your desert speaks loud. Give me your hand, and let the subject see that outward courtesies would fain proclaim favors that keep within.
Now is your time. Speak loud and kneel before him.
Justice! Oh, royal Duke, bear your regard upon the wrong. I would fain have said amain. Oh, worthy prince, dare sonder not your eye by throwing it on any other object, till you have heard me in my true complaint and given me justice. Justice, justice, justice.
Relate your wrongs. In what? By whom? Be brief. Why, he is Lord Angelo shall give you justice. Reveal yourself to him.
Oh, worthy prince, you bid me seek redemption of the devil. Hear me yourself. For that which I must speak must either punish me not being believed, or bring redress from you. Hear me? Oh, hear me here.
My lord, her wits, I fear me, are not firm. She has been sent to me as a suitor from her brother, cut off by course of justice.
By course of
and she will
justice?
speak most bitterly in this way.
Most strange, but yet most truly will I speak that Angelo's forsworn. It's not strange that Angelo's a murderer. It's not strange that Angelo's an adulterous thief and hypocrite, a virgin violator. It's not strange and strange.
Nay, it is 10 times strange.
It is not truer that he is Angelo than this is all as true as it is strange. Nay, it is 10 times true. For truth is truth till the end of reckoning.
Well, away with her, poor soul. She speaks this in the infirmity of sense.
Oh, prince, I conjure thee, as thou believest there is another comfort than this world, that thou neglect me not with that opinion that I am touched with madness. Make not impossible that which but seems unlike. 'Tis not impossible, but one. The wickedest haters on the ground may seem as shy, as grave, as just as absolute as Angelo. Even so may Angelo, in all his dressings, carracks, titles, forms, be an arch-villain. Believe it, royal prince, if he be less, he's nothing, but he's more, had I more names for badness.
By mine honesty, if she be mad, as I believe no other, her madness hath the oddest frame of sense. Such a dependency of thing on thing that e'er I heard in madness.
O worthy Duke, harp not on that, nor do not banish reason for inequality, but let your reason serve to make the truth appear where it seems hid, and hide the false seems true.
Many that are not mad have shown more lack of reason. Well, what would you say?
I am the sister of one Claudio, condemned upon the act of fornication to lose his head, condemned by Angelo. I, in probation of the sisterhood, was sent to by my brother, one Lucio, had sent the messenger.
That's I, and like her grace, I came to her from Claudio, and desired her to try her gracious fortunes with Lord Angelo for her poor brother's pardon.
That's he indeed.
You were not bid to speak.
No, my good lord, nor wished to hold my peace.
I wish you now then. Pray you take note of it. And when you have a business for yourself, pray heaven you then be perfect.
I warrant, your honor.
The warrant's for yourself. Take heed to it.
This gentleman told somewhat of my tale.
Right. It may be right, but you are in the wrong to speak before your time. Proceed.
I went to this pernicious Cata deputy.
Somewhat madly spoken.
Pardon me. The phrase is to the matter.
Mend it again. The matter proceeds.
In brief, to set the needless process by, how I persuaded, how I prayed and kneeled, how he rebelled me and how I replied, for this was of much blame. The vile conclusion, I now begin with grief and shame to others. He would not, but by gift of my chaste folly, to his concusible and temperate lust, release my brother. And after much debatement, must to remorse confuse my honor. And I did yield to him. But the next morn betimes, his purpose surfeiting, he sent a warrant for my poor brother's head.
This is most likely.
Oh, that it were as like as it is true.
By having found rest, he knows not what thou speakst, or else thou art suborned against his honor in hateful practice. Someone hath set you off. Confess the truth. Say by whose advice thou camest here to complain.
And is this all? Then, oh, you blessed ministers above, keep me in patience, and in ripened time unfold the evil which is here wrapped up in countenance. Heaven shield your grace from want. As I thus wronged, hence unbelieved, go.
I know you'd fain be gone, an officer. To prison with her. Shall we thus permit a blasting and scandalous breath to fall on him so near us? This needs must be a practice. Who knew of your intent in coming hither?
One that I would hear, Friar Lodovick.
A ghostly father be like. Who knows that Lodovick?
My lord, I know him. 'Tis a meddling friar. I do not like the man. Had he been laid, my lord, for certain words he spake against your grace in your retirement, I had swinged him soundly.
Words against me? Let this friar be found.
But yesternight, my lord, she and that friar, I saw him at the prison. A saucy friar, a very scurvy fellow.
Blessed be your royal grace. I have stood by, my lord, and I have heard your royal ear abused. First hath this woman most wrongfully accused your substitute, who is as free from touch or soil with her as she from one unjust.
We did believe no less. Know you this Friar Lodovick that she speaks of?
I know him for a man divine and holy, not scurvy, nor a temporary meddler, as he reports by this gentleman, and on my trust a man that never yet did, as he vouches, misreport your grace.
My lord, most villainously, believe it.
Well, he in time may come to clear himself. But at this instant he is sick, my lord, of a strange fever. Upon his mere request, being come to knowledge that there was complaint intended against Lord Angelo, came I hither, to speak as from his mouth what he doth know is true and false, and what he with his oath and all probation will make us full clear whensoever he condemned it. First for this woman, to justify this worthy nobleman so vulgarly and personally accused, her shall you hear disprove it to her eyes, till she herself confess it.
Good friar, let's hear it. Oh, do you not smile at this, Lord Angelo? Oh, heaven, the vanity of wretched fools. Give us some seats. Come, cousin. In this I'll be impartial. Be you the judge of your own cause. Is this the witness, friar? First let her show her face and after speak.
Pardon, my lord. I will not show my face until my husband bid me.
What, are you married?
No, my lord.
Are you a maid?
No, my lord.
A widow, then?
Neither.
But you are nothing. No maid, widow, no wife.
My lord, she may be a punk. For many of them are neither maid, widow, nor wife.
Silence that fellow. I would he had some cause to prattle for himself.
Well, my lord.
My lord, I do confess I now was married. And I confess besides, I am no maid. I have known my husband, that my husband knows not that ever he knew me.
He was drunk then, my lord. It can be no better.
For the benefit of silence. Would thou were so too.
Well, my lord.
This is no witness for Lord Angelo.
Now I come to, my lord. She that accuseth him of fornication in self-same manner, doth accuse my husband, and charges him, my lord, with such a time when all the pose I had him in mine arms with all the effect of love.
Can't you see more than me?
Not that I know.
No? You say your husband.
Why, just, my lord. And that's Angela, who thinks he knows that he ne'er knew my body, but knows, he thinks, that he knows Isabel.
This is a strange abuse. Let's see thy face.
My husband bids me. Now I will unmask. This is that face, thou cruel Angelo, which once thou sworest was worth the looking on. This is the hand, which was a vowed contract was fastly lost in dying. This is the body that took away the map from Isabel, and did supply thee at thy garden house in her imagined person.
Know you this woman?
Carnally, she says.
Say not no more.
Enough, my lord.
Lord, I must confess I know this woman. And since which time of 5 years there was some speech of marriage betwixt myself and her, this was called off. Partly for that her promised proportions came short of composition, but in chief, that her reputation was disvalued in levity. And since which time I never spake with her, saw her, nor heard from her, upon my faith and honor.
Noble prince, as there comes light from heaven, and words from breath, as there is sense in truth, and truth in virtue. I am affianced, this man's wife, as strongly as words can make a vow. And my good lord, but Tuesday night last gone into garden house, he knew me as a wife. As this is true, let me in safety raise me from my knees, or else forever be can fix it here, a marble monument.
I did but smile till now.
Do you have well determined upon these slanders?
My lord, we'll do it thoroughly. Signor Lucio, did not you say you knew this Friar Lodvick to be a dishonest person? Honest in nothing but his clothes, and one that hath spoke most villainous speeches of the Duke.
We shall entreat you to abide here till he come, and enforce them against him. We shall find this friar a notable fellow.
As any in Vienna, on my word.
Call that Saint Isabel here once again. I shall speak with her. Pray you, my lord, give me leave to question her. You shall see how I'll handle her.
Not better than he, by her own report.
Say you?
Marry, sir, I think if you handled her privately, she would sooner confess. Perchance publicly, she'll be ashamed.
I will go darkly to work with her.
That's the way, for women are light as midnight.
Come on, mistress. Here's a gentlewoman denies all that you have said.
This is he. This is the rascal I spoke of, here with the provost.
A very good time. Speak nothing to him till we call upon you.
Mum.
Come, sir. Did you set these women on to slander Lord Angelo? They have confessed you did.
'Tis false.
How? Know you where you are?
Respect to your great place, and let the devil be sometime honored for his burning throne. Where's the Duke? 'Tis he should hear me speak.
The Duke is in us, and we will hear you speak. Look you, speak justly.
Boldly at least. But oh, poor souls, come you to seek the lamb here of the fox? Good night to your address. Is the Duke gone? Then is your cause gone too. The Duke's unjust, thus to retort your manifest appeal, and put your trial in the villain's mouth, which here you come to accuse.
This is he. This is the rascal I spoke of.
Why, thou unbrethren and unhallowed friar, is it not enough thou hast suborned these women to accuse this worthy man? But in foul mouth, and in the witness of his proper ear, to call him villain? And then to glance from him to the Duke himself, to tax him with injustices. Take him hence, to the rack with him. We'll couch you joint by joint, for we will know his purpose. What? Unjust?
Be not so hot! The Duke dare no more stretch this finger of mine than he dare rack his own. His subject am I not, nor here provincial. My business hath made me a looker on here in Vienna, where I have seen corruption boil and bubble till it overrun the stew. Laws for all, false but bold so countenanced, that they stand like strong statues in a barber's shop, as much in mock as mark.
Slander to the state? Away with him to prison!
What can you vouch against him, Signor Lucio? Is this not the man you did tell us of?
'Tis he, my lord. Come hither, Goodman Falls Pate. Do you know me?
I remember you, sir. by the sound of your voice. I met you in the prison in the absence of the Duke.
Oh, did you so? And do you remember what you said of the Duke?
Most notably, sir.
Oh, do you so, sir? And was not the Duke a fleshmonger, a fool, and a coward, as you then reported him to be?
You must, sir, change persons with me ere you make that my report. For you indeed spoke so of him, and much more, much worse.
Oh, thou damnable fellow, did I not pluck thee by the nose for thy speeches?
I protest. I love the Duke as I love myself.
So the villain would close not. After his treasonable abuses,
Such a fellow is not to be talked withal. Away with him to prison. Where's the provost? Away with him to prison. Lay bolts enough upon him. Let him speak no more. Away with those giglets too, and the other Confederate companions.
Stay, sir, stay a while.
resist he? Help him, Lucio.
Come, sir! Come, sir! Come, sir! Boom, sir! Oh, why, you bald-pated, lying rascal! You must be hooded, must you? Show your knave's visage with a pox to you! Show your sheep-biting face and be hanged an hour! Will it not off?
Thou art the first knave that e'er leads to Duke. First, Provost, let me bear these gentlemen free. Sneak not away, sir. For the friar and you must have a word anon. Lay hold on him.
This may prove worse than hanging.
What you have spoke, I pardon. Sit you down. We will borrow a place again. Sir, by your leave, hast thou or word or wit or impudence that can do thee office? If thou hast, rely upon it, till my tale be heard and hold no longer out.
Oh, my dread Lord, I should be guiltier than my guiltiness. To think I can be undiscernible, when I perceive your grace like power divine hath looked upon my passes. Then, good prince, no longer session hold upon thy shame. Let my trial be mine own confession. Immediate sentence then, and sequent death, is all the grace I beg.
Come hither, Marianne. Say, wast thou e'er contracted to this woman?
I was, my lord.
Go take her hence and marry her instantly. Do you the office with trial which consummates, return him here again. Go with him, Provost.
My lord, I am more amazed at his dishonor than at the strangeness of it.
Come hither, Isabel. Your friar is now your prince. As I was then, not changing hard with habit, I am still turning at your service.
Oh, give me pardon that I, your vassal, have employed and pained your unknown sovereignty.
You are pardoned. And now, dear babe, be you as free to us. Your brother's death, I know, sits at your heart. And you may marvel why I obscured myself, not laboring to save his life, and would not rather make rash remonstrance of my hidden power, and let him so be left. For most time, nay, it was the swift celerity of his death that braved my purpose. Peace be with you. That life is better life past fear and death than that which lives to fear. Most happy is your brother.
I do, my lord.
For this new married man, whose salt imagination yet hath wronged your well-defended honor, you must pardon for Marianne's sake. But as ye adjudged your brother, the very law cries out most audible, even from his proper tongue. And Angelo for Claudio, death for death. Haste still pays haste, and leisure answers leisure, like doth quit life, and measure still for measure. Now, Angelo, as thy faults thus manifested, which though thou wouldst deny, denies thee vantage, we do condemn thee to the very block where Claudio stooped to death, and with like haste, away with him.
Oh, my most gracious lord, I hope you will not mock me with a husband.
It is your husband mocks you with a husband. consenting to safeguard your honor, I thought your marriage fit. For his riches, though by confiscation they are ours, we do estate and widow you withal to buy you a better husband.
Oh, my dear lord, I crave no other nor no better man.
Never crave him, we are definitive.
Gentle, my liege.
Away with him. Now, sir.
Oh, my good lord. Sweet Isabel, take my part. Lend me your knees and all my life to come. I'll lend you all my life to do you service.
Oh, against all sense you do importune her? Should she kneel down in mercy of this fact, her brother's ghost, his pavement bed would break and take her hence in horror.
Isabel, sweet Isabel, do yet but kneel by me. Hold up your hand. Say nothing. I'll speak all. They say best men are molded out of fault, and for the most become much more the better for being a little bad. So may my husband. Oh, Isabel, will you not lend a knee?
He dies for Claudio's death.
Most bounteous sir. Most, if it please you, on this man condemned as if my brother lived. I partly think a due sincerity governed his deeds, till he did look on me. Since it is so, let him not die. My brother had but justice in that he did the thing for which he died. For Angelo, his acts did not o'ertake his bad intent, and must be buried, but as an intent that perished by the way. Thoughts are no subjects, intent but merely thought. Merely, my lord.
You do but lose your labor. Stand up, I say. I have bethought me of another fault. Provost! How came it that Claudio was beheaded at an unusual hour?
It was commanded, sir.
Have you a special warrant for the deed?
No, my good lord, it was by private method.
For which I do discharge you of your office. Give up your keys.
Pardon me, noble lord. I thought it was a fault, but knew it not. Yet did repent me after more advice, from testimony whereof one in the prison, that should by private order else have died, I have reserved alive.
What's he?
His name is Barnaby.
I would thou had done so by Claudio. Go fetch him hither. Let me look upon him.
I am sorry one so learned and so wise as you, Lord Angelo, has still appeared. Slipped so grossly, both in the heat of blood and lack of tempered judgment afterward.
Sorrow, that such sorrow I procure, that so deep it sticks in my penitent heart, that I crave death more willingly than mercy. It is my deserving, and I do entreat it.
Which is that promise?
To this, my lord.
There was a friar told me of this man. Sit down. Thou art said to have a stubborn soul that apprehends no furthest than this world and quest thy life according. Thou art condemned. But for those earthly faults I quit them all, and pray thee take this mercy to provide for better times to come. Friar, advise him. I leave him to your hands. What's that muffled fellow?
This is another prisoner that I have saved. One who should have died when Claudio lost his head, as like almost to Claudio as himself.
If he be like your brother, for his sake is he pardoned. And for your lovely sake, give me your hand. Say you will be fine. He is my brother too. But for the time for that. By this Lord Angelo perceives he safe. you love your wife? Her worth yours. I find an apt remission in myself. Now, sir, to you, who knew me for a fool, a coward, one all of luxury, an ass, a madman. Wherein have I so deserved that you extol me thus?
Faith, my lord, I spoke it but according to the trick. If you hang me for it, you may. But I had rather it might please you, I might be whipped.
Whipped first, sir, and hanged after. Proclaim it, provost, round about the city. If any woman wronged by this lewd fellow, as I have heard him swear himself he begot one with child, let her appear, and he shall marry her. The nuptial finished, let him be whipped and hanged.
Oh, I beseech your highness, do not marry me to a whore. Your highness said even now I made you into a duke. Good my lord, do not recompense me to making me a cuckold.
Upon mine honor thou shalt marry her. Thy slanders I forgive, and therewithal remit thy other forfeits. Take him to prison, and see our pleasure here and execute it.
Marrying a punk, my lord, is pressing to death, whipping and hanging.
Landing the tricks deserves it. She, Claudia, that you wrong, look you restore. Joy to you, Mariana. Love her, Angelo. Thanks, good friend Escalus. For thy much goodness, there is more behind that is more gratuitous. Thanks, Provost. For thy care in secrecy, we shall employ thee in a worthier place. Dear Isabel, I have a motion much in towards your good, whereto if you'll a willing ear incline, what's mine is yours, and what is yours is mine.